Casey the Hen. For her, it's baseball season all year round. Now on a tour of Canada, the Arkansas-bred and trained bird is a solid batter. She wins a meal every time she hits a home run. In other words, when the ball hits the back fence. Instead of tagging the bases, Casey heads for the feed box. Casey was trained by psychologists Keller and Marion Breland, who prove that chickens are smarter than they look, and fair hitters, too. No cracks about foul balls, please. Any ball club's dream, a home run hitter who plays for chicken feed.
All right, good evening, everyone. We have the return of the Midwest League. Tonight, we have two members of Team Illinois and two prior champions of Midwest League tonight. Derek Miller, who is playing the USSR, we'll see his side, is playing Frank Zhang. I'm Jeremy Anderson. I'm joined tonight by friend of Team Illinois, J.R. Jones. J.R., welcome. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. Getting shouted out by Frank in the chat there as well. But yeah, I'm doing good. Doing good. Glad to be an honorary Midwesterner for the day.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you. What is it like? What do you do when your opponent is in a bear trap for 8 ARs or whatever it was, JR? What are you just kind of chilling doing?
I think I was even like had nuke subs or something. I was just cooing. I just like flipped like 6 battlegrounds. Like it was a really close game, and I think I flipped legitimately like 5 battlegrounds, and he lost.
Yeah. But Derek gets off to a nice start, negating the best U.S. Headline in the game coming from Frank. That's always sad as the U.S. What are we doing here to follow?
So if I don't see Middle East, I normally spread. But if I've seen it, I'm usually a little less interested in spreading like this. I probably would have just taken the Iran coup with like Suez, which maybe Derek's gonna do.
Yep, he's gonna do it in the res.
That's why you take it with Suez. But I do understand holding Suez back here. If Frank, immediately fills France, we can use that to try and escape the Europe Dom. But I like taking the coup there. If Middle East isn't scored, spreading makes a lot of sense to me. But with it already being scored, Egypt is usually not a super juicy coup target for the U.S. player anyway.
Yeah, I agree. And I think holding Suez back is also nice because if Frank is careless and doesn't get out of Iran, and doesn't get out of Israel after a better coup than that, then that can be pretty juicy as well. There's some nice ops from Frank. He is just going to do that, which I think that makes a lot of sense, JR.
Yeah, I agree. Derek does have IP war, so he doesn't have to be worried about, losing Pakistan, which this is at least a little bit of a bluff on that, by Frank, like, oh, maybe I have IP war. So I really want to take a coup on Pakistan. I don't know if I would do it with China, but this is a very important coup, so.
I think I would have done it with China. Any other 4, I don't think I want to do it with USJ just because 2 is so bad there.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with the China card coup.
With this hand, I don't know about you, but with this hand, I'm also thinking probably USJ is just going to go into South Korea for me. I'll take that and give him Japan. Call it a wash.
Yeah, and then we're spacing NORAD. I think that probably makes sense to me too. That's something we probably want to do sooner rather than later here, especially since we've got Western Asia basically locked down now.
Yeah, exactly. And I really like holding defectors through if you can. We'll see what his hand looks like next turn, but I would definitely be holding defectors here, at least into turn 2 to see what happens.
Yeah, and that makes all the sense in the world. Do you go into South Korea now, or do you score Europe? Or do you do neither of those things?
I would have scored Europe before this. That's a nice roll, though. That's pretty important. So that's pretty great. But yeah, I think I would have scored Europe first. Frank doesn't have a ton to do now, but fill France. I mean, Laos is important, getting out of Israel is important, but filling
Yeah,
France is rapidly going up the list of priorities here.
I think he has to put one in Lebanon, and if he's got a 4, the other 3 just go into France. If he's got a 2, you can go one for, I don't know. Lebanon. Oh, there we go. Let's see if it is.
Oof. All right, I think I'm just doing 4 ops out of Europe here and saying
You have to.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see if he has a third 4-op. He has to, yeah, it's Marshall or NATO.
My my gut reaction is he doesn't. I would think he would hold Purge rather than either of those, probably.
Holding Purge, it's just something I can never do, though. Yeah, and we're just going to get CNS event. We're going to get rid of Europe, so that's nice. Holding Purge should be a play deck achievement.
Yeah, that's yeah. Many times on my stream, all right, maybe we'll hold Purge with this hand, and then it's like AR3. I'm like, time to spend Purge.
I'll literally be the like AR1 trying to hold Purge. It's just like, I don't know, I'm going to use it right away, actually.
So with Frank hitting space there, I think I would forego spacing and I would just put USJ into South Korea right now. Just so if Frank gets a quick Korean War next turn, we don't have to worry about him eventing the war and then taking the battleground.
Yeah, I think that's right. We've seen IP wars, so we don't have to get out of Pakistan. Frank has not gotten to, well, Frank gets an op into Jordan. That could be a little annoying, but Middle East is scored at the same point, at the same time.
Oh, well, that's annoying.
Yep. Good play from
Oh,
Frank.
okay, now I would just probably space NORAD. Maybe next turn we can use USJ for something if we need to.
He's gonna do a different trade. Let's see if we can draw Korean War though, right?
Yeah, maybe Derek thinking that Frank has it in hand and overprotecting Korea there is pretty important with the China card already gone. So I understand this play. Poke of Korea or just Frank going into Burma would be a problem for us next turn, since we probably want to be taking a coup AR1.
Yeah. So what is Frank's play here? Is I think he wants to take France. He's got to get one into Thailand with Vietnam out there.
Yeah, one into Thailand is a must. Decall, same thing. You know, you don't need China to flip it. You
Yeah.
can get Vietnam or that. So I would think one Vietnam, or no, sorry, one Thailand. I don't know. Maybe you could poke Egypt, I guess. I mean, you probably want to retake France, but that's also scored, so it's not as important.
Yes, it's just gonna be. I think that's
Okay.
our 2-op.
And good choice because Derek did get Vietnam and a 4-op to flip if he had not overprotected it.
And Derek does get some ops here.
Yeah, Marshall's pretty unplayable here, but you are going to have to give one of Defector's NORAD Marshall, which is not great.
So I think there's 13 cards between Frank's hand and the deck, and 2, 4. No, pardon me, 17 cards, and only 5 of them are not red. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah,
shade headline. I think the Asia headline probably makes sense. We're not getting Dom in any way, right?
we're never getting Dom there. There's nothing Frank can do in the headline to stop it. So yeah, I think Asia makes a lot of sense there.
Yeah, I was just marveling at. I was looking at my card track and be like, can this possibly be right? But I think it is.
Yeah, you've got after these headlines, you've got 11 USSR, 1 neutral, 4 US.
I think so. Yeah, 2, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you guys use that weird card tracker. I forgot. You're not David Mick website purists.
I'm a David McWebsite guy.
Oh, okay, okay.
Although I don't have the new shuttle diplomacy thing.
I didn't have it for a little while after some other people said it, but then one day it just showed up. I don't know. Maybe you have to clear your cache or something.
Oh, that makes sense. Big coup on Panama, I think, is the right call, and it proves to be the right call, JR, with the
Yeah,
roll.
yeah. I mean, Warsaw out there probably coming. So just get NATO out of your hand before it's active. We also don't really even have a 3-op to coup with. So I like a 4 better than a 2.
Yeah, especially with Frank having adjacency and destall. I mean, it'll come back, but it's gone for now.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Frank's hand is, because if he wanted to, he could have held blockade and destall there by playing China. So he could have kept that away from Derek if he was committed to it.
Yeah, good point. That suggests decall, right?
So just
Then he could space decall. It suggests decall and Korean War to me.
it suggests it could also just be that he literally did not have another card to headline. Like, you can't headline UN, which is the only neutral card, and maybe he didn't have Duck and 5-year plan, which are really the kind of only 2 blue cards you would consider headlining here.
Hmm.
Okay, he has to have at least one of Decall and Korean War, if not both, because Fidel's pretty high on my list of cards I would not give here.
Yeah, with Derek having ops in Panama for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, grabbing a quick battleground makes sense. I think I want to try to space NORAD, and I know you wanted to hold defectors through, but with UN unseen, I think I kind of like trying to hold Marshall, JR.
Yeah. No, that's correct. I agree with that. Defectors is a nice hold if you can get it, but I've been burned by NORAD too many times. Some people will give it, but if you willingly give NORAD, Quagmire's never going to show up, so.
Yeah, I've just so many forever NORADs for me. And I've even gotten them 1 or 2 in my favor too.
Yeah.
He's such a powerful card. All right, so we gotta take Iran and Syria. What else do we do with our ops, JR?
Well, I would event Vietnam, just to get some influence over in that side. I would probably do that next. If he doesn't overprotect Lao, you can steal it. I probably would have done that before spacing, honestly, just to see if you could sneak a flip on Lao with like Defector. But I would event Vietnam. So you only have 5 ops left. 2 go into the Middle East. I don't know what you're doing with containment. Maybe just jam something in Europe so he has to repair it.
Yeah, that Vietnam play is always interesting to me because I just tend to not like doing it. And then I play it for ops, it doesn't come back, and then I get Southeast Asia for 8 VPs. So I think you talked me into eventing Vietnam here.
Yeah, I just like getting, it's kind of like having 1 op adjacent to Italy. It might not do anything for right now, but it opens up a whole new world eventually.
Yep. And Truman is one of those blue cards out there, so we're not going to be messing around with France here.
No, yeah.
It's another red one. Well, I have to say, after Frank has played, nothing but red cards so far. The deck is evening out.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe he literally just didn't have a card to headline that wasn't actively harmful, so he was like, okay, screw it, just blockade D-stall.
Yeah, okay. And Derek is going to do this, which had to be done before the end of the turn. Although you talked me into Vietnam being better, that AR.
Yeah, I would have gone Vietnam first. You can do that later. Frank's not going to take Syria or something like that, so not a huge rush.
Yeah. In a Vietnam event, if Frank doesn't take another country, you can jam into South Korea with containment, which I mean, it won't actually work because Frank can oh. Well, that's sad.
I think if I was Frank, I would have held off on. I guess we haven't seen Decall, right? So he's kind of signaling he doesn't have Decall in hand. I was gonna say I would have held off. I was gonna say I would have held off on Angola because you're just allowing a Zaire coup next turn, but I guess it makes sense if we haven't seen decall to just take all the countries so that if Derek gets it on turn 3, it's not as devastating.
Yeah, and Derek will use Vietnam to shore up the Middle East. With this hand, um, with this hand though, JR, assuming we don't see decall in these next two ARs, I should say. I liked your point about playing China to hold blockade and destall. But to your other point, we also haven't seen a headline at all. But like honestly, I might headline AI war instead of blockade. Like it's terrible.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking was headline AI war.
Yeah,
Can't headline that one. So we're probably gonna see his whole hand here. So
looks like yeah, and I like that. That's obnoxious.
probably just throw 2 in there.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do? If you're not doing this, you're putting an op in Saudi.
Yeah, maybe he'll Truman it, but whatever. If Truman's gone for good.
Well, if he's
Fair enough.
Trumaning it, he's not getting to Zaire.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think Frank should have gone to Zaire with that op instead of overprotecting France. I mean, Burma is meh. I think I like the second in West Germany, but whatever.
Yeah. And yeah, it doesn't look like Frank's gonna take Europe Dom here, and both De Gaulle and Suez are out of the deck, so overprotecting France not quite as urgent. Sokov's is around. That's one of the unknown cards, I guess. So
Yep. But yeah, to me, he has 4 ops of things that he wants to do, and there are no 4 ops available to him.
yeah.
Oh, there is one. Silly me. And those are the 4 things he does. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that means he held decall, right?
I would think so. Which I guess there's an argument for holding decall and just getting the Suez blockade out. Or
Yeah.
Suez and D-stall out of your hand. But Frank has another bad hand here. Well, it's not a disaster, but it's not good. He has 5 more red cards in his hand because Derek drew all the blue.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I've got as well. I was just gonna say these guys would happily trade hands, I think. Although actually I don't think Frank would. Derek would definitely. Frank's happy.
Yeah, I mean, Sokov's whatever, empty AR, and he can space decall. And then he has Warsaw, Comic Con, Cambridge, which generally are not problems. Derek can cleanly headline CIA here, which I think I like.
And that's what he's going to do. Yeah, I think I like it too. I mean, if you're not doing that, you're headlining Romanian or Vietnam or
Probably Vietnam for me. And so I know Derek did have Indy Reds in his hand AR1, but this is a situation where I kind of wish he was in Yugoslavia because we're okay. Honestly, I don't hate it when I hit that as the US because it means CIA is going back in for the late war.
Yep.
Don't coup with Vietnam. I've had Vietnam this time.
But I was gonna say, nice for Derek because he does get to make a dent in Africa here.
Yeah, which is pretty important. If he didn't get the coup here, he was getting controlled in Africa by turn 4 for sure.
Yep. Yeah. So what are we doing? We're spacing duck. Are you a hold 5-year plan kind of guy, JR? I think I would be.
With this board, yeah, CIA is in
Yeah.
the discard. You're not going to run into trouble with that. Africa or Europe would be awesome. Even something like OAS, 5-year plan, can be really helpful.
So that means we're giving Marshall, which is much more or much less harmful than it was last turn. I think that's something we're just going to accept.
I would probably take. I mean, Derek is out of things to do with his ops. He can take Saudi, but that's it. So I would be taking some Mediterranean countries in Europe. And here's that Yugoslavia influence to do just that.
Okay, he doesn't do a greedy Warsaw though. Yeah, I mean that's something to the only other thing to do, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is no longer an option after Frank's AR is flipping Angola seems useful.
Yeah, I just assumed Frank is going to put one in Angola here at a minimum. Frank doesn't have anything pressing to do either, so there's no reason not to just overprotect. You might even see one into South Korea just to prevent some sort of a China card jam, because we know Frank isn't flush with ops.
Yeah, decall Cambridge, Comic-Con, SocGovs, and 2 unknowns.
Yeah, I mean it could be NATO and nuke test ban, but yeah, if I was Derek, I think I would just throw 2 ops into Portugal, and then that'll probably prompt Frank to take Greece, and then you can event Marshall after taking Turkey, and he doesn't get that much value out of it.
Yeah, you can just use IP war for that, I suppose.
Yeah. We could also space, because if we hit, Frank kind of needs to space immediately. That's annoying, but I wouldn't do anything about it. If he wants to spend his time realigning a country with 4 influence in it, fair enough. Have fun.
Well, I think you might want to spend his time realigning a country with 3 influence in it as well. But I also think I kind of think this is where you place ops into Europe and say if you want to do realigns, it's gonna cost you on the board there, and you're not gonna get mill ops.
Yeah, now you could just play Marshall first, which would immediately block Dom, and he can't afford to realign because he has to spend an AR retaking his Dom. You could also just okay.
Yeah, you got to take Greece too.
This creates a real problem. I wasn't willing to spend China for it, but I mean this is a huge problem for Frank.
Yeah, I think now I'm not now I don't really want to hold on to 5-year plan because we're getting rid of one of the regions that it was going to help us in, and we don't have China anymore. So I would be spacing Duck and leaving my last 3 cards for AR6 to be 5-year plan Truman and Romanian, and just 5-year plan one of them away. Would I think be my plan if we're doing this?
Would it be crazy to leave the other card as like IP war, because the Romanian event, if we're fighting on country count, is pretty valuable. It's basically a 3-op.
That's fair. We can see how it goes. Yeah. Maybe we space, we play Marshall, taking Turkey with it, and then AR5, we can determine what we want to do with IP wars.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember how many of these are redraws. IP War is a redraw.
I think IP War and Romanian are the only unknowns.
Okay. So
Yeah,
probably we'll see Frank take Canada here. Yeah.
Which I mean
Oh, that sucks.
it was a 1 and 3, but that's actually we're not going to see him do it. Matt would be screaming about the lack of play for Middle East control right now.
Yeah. It's so hard to keep Sadat and Camp David out there. Like it might work, but Middle East might not come until turn 6 after a bunch of events have been scored.
Oh, but Derek's going to give it the old college try, perhaps.
I do think people, including myself, sometimes don't take Israel for too long when it really would make sense. I do not like this. I would not.
Yeah, don't give. If we were going to give Millops, we should have cooed something.
I guess you could go. What is that? Zimbabwe and Haiti, and then the relines are both turned off, and you can just spend the rest of the turn coming back and forth.
Yeah, we don't have good ops, so that's not terrible.
But I think I like Marshall taking Turkey and Yugoslavia.
I think
that
that's
probably
good.
that probably gives us enough breathing room that we can take a turn off to space duck without having to fight in Europe anymore.
Yeah, I think that's right. Even with the Romanian possibility, so I'm down with that. He's going to go the turn both off, which I think is also okay, but it's worth 2 VPs though.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking he just stole two VPs with AI War, so he doesn't need these two as much.
A man of the people, Derek.
Our policy is directed not against any country,
Spreading his VPs out.
but against hunger.
But now Frank only has to spend two ops in probably Benelux to retake his Dom.
Yeah, I think you're going to end up being right, and I think we're going to end up eventing Romanian.
Yeah. I do think spacing Duck is a must for me this turn. Just get that out of here for sure.
Yeah, I think we literally have to, don't we, with 5-year plan?
Well, we played China, so we can hold two cards here. So we could hold like Duck and 5-year plan or something. But that just seems too risky for me. Yeah. Oh.
Okay.
Well, good thing he didn't waste any ops trying to fill the Middle East, because he would have gotten at most one extra VP for his trouble.
And he does the right thing there, taking tempo to space. It does free up Cambridge for Frank, who will roll a nice 6 and get his mill ops. And now Cuba's looking rough. Would you take an IP war, or he's looking like maybe a Truman coup?
I would take the IP war coup. I'm really bad at rolling though.
Oh, so is Derek. So is Derek.
Yeah, so that's why I would take that, because at least you did something.
Uh-oh.
I think we just see Comic-Con for realigns here now, probably. Although Frank does have a choice. If he plays Comic-Con to realign, he doesn't really have any more ops this turn.
Yeah, Decall, which we just saw, and Sock Govs is the other card. So let's do the 5-year plan thing. 1 Nicaragua. Is it crazy to go to Yugoslavia? What do we have that needs to be overprotected more than that, JR? Maybe Panama?
Yugoslavia makes sense. You could also go to Botswana, take another country in Africa and threaten, or you don't have to have two, but at least one in Botswana just to threaten South Africa access.
Yeah, okay. So I think I like, I was going to say Nicaragua, 1 Botswana, 1 Panama, because a Panama poke seems obnoxious here.
Yeah. This third one, though, if you're taking Yugoslavia is fine, but if you're doing this, absolutely third one to Nicaragua, right? Like,
I think so, yeah.
If he wants to spend 3 ops of Comic-Con cooing Nicaragua, like, okay, cool. That's a win for us in my book.
Yeah, I agree. It's the wrong one. Oh, well. So now there are 6 blue cards and 1 red card out there. And that red card.
Yeah. That's pretty bad disaster for Frank, that these two hands have not been good. So what are you doing here? I think you just have to take Mexico, and I don't know what the third op does.
See, I like to be as obnoxious as possible. Maybe to my detriment sometimes, because I do like the Panama poke.
I'm just worried about
But taking Mexico is a thing that's a very good thing to do, right? So
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
You could also just space, try and get the 2 VP, make sure Derek doesn't jump you. We are down 10, or Frank is down 10, so that's a problem. Okay, he heard you.
Yeah, yeah, I wasn't counting, Frank, but you didn't see a lot of them.
Well, he saw 0 last turn. And looking at the discard, I don't see any blue cards that Frank played this turn. So I don't think he had any blue cards turn 2 or turn 3 at all.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
You're right, yeah.
Hey, that's some good stuff. Is it good to get Junta D-stall?
Oh my goodness. I was just going to say Junta fixes no D-stall, but then the next card's D-stall. And that's the problem with poking Panama instead of doing something like taking Mexico. Now Junta rolls a 4 and it's just gone. I think I do the junta into Uruguay. Do you have to
No,
do with
we don't
both
even
of them?
have
No,
to.
that's too much.
We have
You
D-stall.
to.
Junta
Yeah.
into Mexico to Panama, and then you can just D-stall into South America at your leisure.
Yeah. I've never had both of them in my hand on turn 4 before. Interesting.
No, because normally same thing, no brainer, junta in to Uruguay, but okay, that's a problem. Junta fixes this a pretty significant amount for us, though.
Yep, and now it makes the junta into Mexico even stronger, regardless of having D-stall, because you don't want to have to, because it's an obligation, obviously, to spread into both halves.
Yeah, it also is potentially really going to make Frank think that Derek has Central in his hand, and he's going to win the game right now, but he's not.
Unless it's in Frank's hand. And that's a problem. Yeah, I would just make him flip Pakistan and fix India. I would just do this.
Yeah, you're giving him one with China if he wants to spend China on it. So I think I'd rather give him Pakistan than India. Formosan's a real problem here, though. That's something we really can't afford to give. Unless, I guess if Frank flips Pakistan, then it doesn't matter as much anymore, but if he doesn't.
That's the play of somebody who has Asia scoring, I think, because Frank just, I guess actually Central's only worth 9, not 10, so it wouldn't end the game.
Yeah, it's only 9. No big deal. No big deal. Easy.
It's fine.
I would pull these ops out of these non-battlegrounds in Europe.
Yeah. And then 1 Austria is fine.
I would actually take the 2 out of Austria. We're giving Truman this turn almost for sure, I would think. And I don't want to give him 2 ops out of it. Yeah. Oh no, Finland. Finland over Czech. That's going to be the difference in this game.
Our Finnish empire will be just wiped off the mat by that despot Harry Truman.
Yeah. Okay, this is a classic D-stall. I haven't seen a 4-op South America D-stall in a while, but it makes sense.
Yeah, a theory
greedy.
D-stall, yeah.
I would have gone 1 Indonesia over Argentina, probably.
Oh, interesting.
I get a little.
I like that play. I think I would have gone with this just because we're ahead by so much. Let's shore up our position on the board. But I think
sure
the Indonesia op makes a lot of sense too. To make Southeast Asia not such a crisis.
We could have 2 VP in Southeast Asia right now. Think of that.
Frank does have a.
That gets him a little breathing room. So yeah, now who cares? Formosan, play it. Fine.
Yeah, and obviously Frank doesn't have VOA in hand, so you don't have to worry about VOA protection.
Yeah. So, Justin, if you're watching, don't listen, but I think we might end up using salt for ops here. Oof. Nice roll.
Yeah, I don't mind cooing with salt here. Like, what are we gonna grab from the discard pile?
Decall?
Decall, but I mean it's decall.
It's not great, but
right? Decall's actually in Southeast Asia, I think.
Getting like if you set it up to 4, we both get a coup off. It is kind of nice because he either has to coup a 2-stab or Zaire with 4 in it, and we can then just coup like Nigeria.
Yep. Don't hate this at all, yeah. Okay. So we got 4 ops. I think they're going 3 into the bottom half of South America. And I would either overprotect Mexico or take Colombia, so we still have a South America dom if some shenanigans happen down there.
Yeah, I think. Oh. Frank should try drawing some good cards. He keeps showing these bad ones.
Well, now we have
Okay, so
two, but we got the two ops that we were going to use anyway. So
yeah, exactly. That's huge.
oh, and so's that.
And that's that should be the end of that. If Frank wants to take some relines on Mexico, maybe, but you can't. I don't think you're cooing that back.
Yeah.
So yeah, would you give the Pope here, or would you use Portuguese for ops? Because I do kind of like having the Portuguese event for next headline, if we don't get something better.
Poland's at 7, right?
Yeah, it's at 7. Yeah, I would give the Pope here. I would go Argentina and I would go Colombia in case we see like a OAS or something. Panama
Yeah,
Canal.
I think that's my play too.
Justin going to be outraged in the chat if we use Salt for ops and play the Pope on back-to-back turns.
Oh, well, you were there for this. I spaced the Pope as the US on his stream. And he actually agreed with it. And then I lost my PPs on turn 4 anyway. So
classic.
In game 3 of an ITSL playoff series. It's not something I still am a little bitter about or anything. But yeah, so Frank, if he gave Allende, so like that was a bad spot to give Allende. Like I know he has sack govs. 3 other cards.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what else he has because Allende like pretty bad there to give. You don't want to give that at all. Yeah, like you said, he has sock govs, but I don't know what else he has.
Deck is actually blue now. Almost twice as many blue as red.
Yeah. So if Frank can just survive, if he gets some good scoring card timing, he could still turn this around. He definitely needs some big events, but
yeah, like grain and a big coup on Zaire. He needs a nice Kennedy to just get rid of the Americas.
Yeah. They have them skip a couple turns, come back in the late war, maybe.
Yeah.
He's taking a long time to think about this one, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, this is also really painful to give. Like, this is blocking Africa Dom in a kind of significant way.
Well, blocking Africa Dom and setting up real lines on Nigeria, too.
Yeah.
Okay, well, bad roll, which Derek was probably due for one of those. So I assume he's just going to coup that back, no matter what happens with Haiti here.
Yeah, probably. Okay.
Okay, so Che didn't eat his Wheaties, which is a nice break for... Oh, does he have Central?
I feel like Frank must have Central in hand, right? Like, I don't think he would...
Must, otherwise that's nuts.
Yeah, that's a pretty crazy card to give. I think Derek will be happy to just take his 5 here. I would feel south. This is not that important to me. We don't have a great secondary target anyway. Do Haiti, yeah. Get that +1 VP if you hit it.
That's also even. I'd rather do Angola.
Yeah. I also would have kept Portuguese. I would have done no matter what I was doing. I would have done it with Pope. I like having Portuguese to play next turn if we were wanting to.
Yeah, but I think I definitely agree. 1 Argentina, 1 Colombia was still the play. And it is, of course, Central. This isn't great.
It is a little nice in that Derek just getting kind of a smattering of bad events. Like he can space the voice. Maybe you poke something with nuke subs on your last AR so he can't coup with it. He can live back into Mexico, which is funny.
Yeah, definitely not unmanageable, but not great. But given the deck composition, that was coming.
I
Um,
would I would go gunman here. Frank might try and sneak out South America in the headline, or something
oh
like this.
no. Uh-oh. Oh, and wait for me, Derek.
Africa, Europe, flower power, UN,
Frank,
kitchen.
Frank only has one. I guess he had bear trap, so two blue cards in this hand too.
There's hardly any left in the deck. There's only like 6 red cards total to even draw left, and he still manages to not have hardly any blue.
That's wild. All right. Well, this is just an Angola coup.
Yeah, no question. Okay. Voice first. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, Derek gets out of it in 8 fewer ARs than his last bear trap, so he's thrilled to see that. Missing a card. Oh, nuke subs.
So Frank gets nothing for his trouble with bear trap here. He retakes Angola. I guess he does retake Angola. Derek would have taken that otherwise, but that's the grand total of what bear trap has gotten him.
Um,
That I mean, the maximum we were going to get out of Africa was 1, but isn't it worth it to have Angola? Like just
yeah, yeah, you take both Angola and South Africa, and you're never getting domed. He has
yeah,
flower power.
yeah. He has flower power, which we're giving flower power. We're UNing Quag, and then Sokovs. You probably just empty AR or space, depending on what you want to do with it. But
I mean, 2 known scoring cards is unfortunate, but Derek can't really bully Frank in either region if he overprotects Angola.
yeah, like the worst thing he could do is jam into Algeria, and if we run out of ops, it's like okay, you score it for 0 then, but at least you have Angola out of the deal.
Yeah, and I think this was a reasonable response from Derek to Angola when Nigeria won Argentina. Yeah, I would put 4 ops into 2 into South Africa, 2 into Angola there.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Frank needs 4 ops to take Europe, Dom, which Derek can then block with 3. But Derek does not have 3 ops unless he wants to give China.
Yeah, so this is more problematic than you'd maybe think, and Derek will give China, which I think is fine.
Yeah, cultural's around. Usuri, the scarier event is gone. So it's just cultural and Nixon.
And now Frank just has 2 ops here. I guess he'd UN Quag.
He can UN Quag, but I don't think he wins this race anymore. Like he can take a country, but then Derek can take a country, and then Derek can just poke him to death. Well, is there anywhere Derek can even poke? I guess he can poke.
Oh, Benelux, baby.
He can poke Benelux. He can poke Sweden.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Is Benelux attached to the UK? Can you put an op with special in there?
Oh, you can, I think. Yeah. I feel like I've done that before in a really weird game.
You ever just Google Twilight Struggle map and then pull up a picture so you can zoom in and check? Yeah, it is attached. So, but you can poke Sweden with special, and that would be fine.
Okay, we're gonna space Quag.
Derek should probably take the chance to space as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Puppet, pretty harmless here. It'll let Frank get an Colombia maybe or something, but it's not going to do a whole lot. The board's pretty saturated at this point.
Yeah, it would be like Colombia, Saudi.
Maybe one in Southeast Asia. It's a VP. It's going to come at some point.
Yeah, okay, and Frank gives up the Europe dream.
which Frank does not know. So, I mean, looking at the list of cards, there's a lot of stuff Derek could have to fight this, but I feel like I would have given it at least maybe one more try. I don't know. I feel like we really need some VP here as Frank.
Yeah, and that must have been his thought process going into the whole choosing to use flower power in Europe instead of Africa. But I still like securing those battlegrounds. You're probably only getting a point with the country count, but okay. Frank did need mill ups, so sure.
Yeah, no problem giving special here. Who cares?
Yeah, I want to get an op into Venezuela for sure. And I do still
Yeah.
think, and maybe it's not till AR6, but we do want to take that, excuse me, that non-battleground in South America, like we were talking about earlier.
Right. Yeah, especially now we're gonna lose one on mill ops, probably. Or we're not gonna protect South America at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know that I like the two Israel.
Yeah.
As much.
I'm just spitballing here, but I think that Kitchen Debates is probably not active. Not positive, but
yeah. 10, 12, 16. I think Derek is 18 to 7. 18 to 7. So Frank would have to flip 6 battlegrounds on AR6
okay.
to get Kitchen active.
Okay, that's not too hard.
No,
That's pretty doable. Well, if he had Angola, he'd only have to flip. He could flip, one less.
And
so.
South Africa, right? Practically.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, yeah, I'll grab a point there. That's probably the most efficient things Frank can do on the board right now is just grab those Southeast Asia points.
Yeah, 4 ops, 4 VP if he spends the other 3 there.
Yeah. And he needs a point source.
Yeah, if I was Derek here, I would probably just go this in Colombia. Just so an OAS headline or something does not let him sneak out of South America.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Burma is a VP, but I do think Colombia would have been better there.
You could also just play Sokovs here and repair it and hold UN in case you somehow draw a bunch of more red problem cards. But maybe that's just a little too conservative.
It's going to be when poor Frank draws South African, Brezhnev, cultural, OPEC, Muslim, we will bury you, Southeast Asia, South America.
Yeah. Yeah, he's running out of red cards to draw, so soon he's going to have to draw some blue just the way math works.
Okay, Mexico poke is fine. It's Derek who gets the scoring cards. Derek also gets purge. The Insta headline, I'm not a big the Insta headline means something type of guy, but that seems like grain sales to me.
I am a big the Insta headline means something to me guy, and it also means that it is grain. So I would just go ahead and headline purge here. Make sure he doesn't grab that one and make his grain coup weaker.
There's a tilt factor too, isn't there? Like Frank's already probably not feeling too great, so purge him and make him feel a little worse, right?
Exactly.
This is a game of misery, right? Like
exactly.
And yep.
Okay, that's the best hit.
Yeah, and that's got to be a 3-up coup of Argentina, right?
Yeah, I think there's pretty much no choice.
One communist on the faculty of one university is one communist.
Okay, that's not what he wanted to roll though. He should have rolled better than that one, I think.
Yeah, he should have done better. And I just I'm sorry, Frank. It's been a rough one for you, bud. Yeah, just a 2-out play to Brazil and Mexico seems pretty good, right?
You don't do this. You can break Lebanon later. Just you're not getting arms
Yeah.
race off.
Oh yeah, do the Pope. Do the Pope.
Yeah, or just do it with arms race. You know that arms race is probably not getting scored. Like you're not going to coup with NORAD and the Pope probably.
Arms
Although
races are
maybe
stream to winning though, right?
yeah, that's true. Arms race is the way to win this turn.
But honestly, we don't like. Oh no, CIA got defected. CIA is still around.
Yeah, that's DEFCON is the way we're losing this game basically.
Yeah, because all those cards will be back.
But it would be difficult to win this turn. We would have to coup with Nora. Okay, never mind.
Okay, never mind.
Coup again.
Oh, that's just painful for Frank. And then
Was that
the
was
10
that a
VP
two?
follows. That was a 1.
Was that a 2 and a 1 though? The first 4-up coup was a 2, and then the second one was a 1. Well, 3-up because
3
he's
out
purged.
purge. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
so just a horrible sequence for Frank there.
Oh, there's a VP though, and a blue card.
Oh
Count
yeah.
it. I would just score Southeast here. It's okay. You can do this too. That's fine. Sadat
Oh
might
yeah,
be coming.
we actually, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. So this is fine. But yeah, painful for Frank so far.
And yeah, so Frank obviously it sucks. What's his name, Mr. Kennedy, just hanging out until turn 7 because
Oh yeah.
probably. I guess Frank could have it. We don't know if Frank has it or not, but yeah, what a disaster here. Okay, how does Frank not lose? Step 1, put 2 ops into Southeast Asia so you get 2 more VP. Okay,
Hitting the space would help. Nope.
Nope. Derek should space back.
Yeah, do NORAD.
So yeah, I think there's no way to win this on the board if you're Frank at this point. Like this is just too far gone. So really, you just need to try and survive, scrape a few VP together so you don't lose on VP to 20, and hope that Derek just draws 3 DEFCON cards, which is possible.
Very possible. And Frank is very good about maintaining possession of the China card. He might not have any say in the matter if Derek draws Nixon and Cultural next turn, though.
Yeah, looking at the cards that are left, I think if he has cultural, he would hold that. I would even in this scenario play Kennedy for ops, cultural because
Yeah, so it's going to be at
that's
12. Okay, and there is Sadat. So Derek will have to take a coup here.
I would do it with Puppet probably. I would let him Puppet. He'll go Guatemala, Saudi, Colombia, and then you can coup Guatemala is my theoretical play.
That's probably what I would do too. But what about a Saharan states play threatening flipping Nigeria could be problematic for us.
Well, Frank's purged, so I'm not too worried
That's
about that.
true.
I think there's only
Oh, it's just Muslim and wheelbarrow. Yeah, that's fair.
yeah.
Frank's poor Frank's rolls have been so bad I've barely noticed he's purged.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you just keep rolling ones, basically.
Ugh.
Derek is going to give the Pope here, so that does open up a faint Europe path if the stars align.
Yeah, you'll need to see all the cards though, pretty much though, right?
Yeah, I mean you just get Chernobyl, Solidarity, take it, event teardown that you also drew at the same time, realign it even because Derek has Czechoslovakia. No big deal. Easy.
Yeah. there's just a blob of red from Mexico through the Mediterranean to the north and then cut it off at Iran. Like that whole rectangle of the map, which is most of the map. It's just red.
Yeah. Okay.
Step coup.
That doesn't.
I was gonna say that doesn't do much, does it?
No. But I don't know what else you do with the one op that does do much there. I guess you could have just gone into Guatemala.
That's
Maybe.
what, and then that gets cooed, right? But like, so maybe that's why Frank didn't do it because that was my first thought: go to Guatemala instead of cooing that. But yeah,
I imagine we'll see Guatemala here now anyway. Yeah.
yeah, this all makes sense. I would have done Colombia over Uruguay, maybe.
I guess the idea is this gets you some adjacency, so if you're able to flip one of those someday, you you have Uruguay. You can take Uruguay.
Yep.
That's not good.
That is, yeah.
I might have even bothered with Botswana there and just thrown 2 into South Africa. Okay, so that puts Poland at 1-5. Is that correct? That's how that works
what I
at
think
7.
so. Yeah.
All right, Frank, time to play a blue card.
I mean, OAS would be nice. PCR is protected. Rear guards is okay.
Oof, that's 2 VP though, and this
Yeah.
never works. So it's just 2 VP for
Panama,
for
right?
Derek. Hey, there
We
you go. So, okay, I actually do think, so he had ABM under Purge and Brush War. I think the odds are better if he had brushed first, right? In South America?
Yes. Yes, he should have done that. Although he would
Yeah.
have played the role, but technically you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you assume the same roles, it's basically the same outcome, but I think the Brush War had a little bit better odds of success.
It did. Yeah, 1 pip better.
Alliance. Muslim. Muslim is pretty cool here for Derek.
Yeah. Do you have this feels like too many. I have for Frank OAS. Oh no, Indy Reds is gone. OAS, Nixon, Asnot, EEU, Brezhnev, Cultural, We Will Bury You, and Summit.
Summit is gone.
Summit.
I have OAS, Nixon, Kennedy, EEU, Shuttle. Is Shuttle around?
Shuttle's in Derek's hand.
Okay. That checks out. No. Derek doesn't have Shuttle. He has Salt.
He has shot. It's the first card on the left.
Oh my god, you're so right. Okay. um. Okay, so then minus Shuttle, Brezhnev, Cultural, We Will Bury You.
I think that's right then.
Yeah.
Oh, Derek did CMC. Okay.
Yeah.
Lost in the tracking.
CMC makes sense. OAS of those known cards makes the most sense in the headline, so that just allows you to instantly deal with it.
Yeah, and we'll just get rid of A for P. We can grab Saudi. Well, expensive.
Frank does have to do a little bit of a shuffle with Cultural and Nix in his hand, a little annoying. Maybe you play China, play Cultural, play Nixon.
That's what I was gonna say, yeah. So Frank will have to get up into, or no, he won't. He's taking it back. Space very important here, and Frank hits a roll.
Yeah, a little annoying because that just you had to do it. You have to space Wheelbarrow you here, and you want to space first, but it does free up Missile Envy. Derek can now Missile Envy him if he wants. Probably won't get. He would probably just give him Cultural and then take it back with Nixon, but
yeah, I think that's right, and I think, but Frank doesn't want to wait on Cultural, so.
Annoying for Derek because he's threatening Middle East control here shortly, but he can't have control because he just gave shuttle.
Very true, but also kind of first world problems right now.
Yeah. He'll only have,
Well
a presenceless Dom worth 9 or something. Although Frank will presumably fix that.
Should go someplace else.
At this point, if you're Frank, though,
I'm not.
you could get into a situation where the Marine barracks bombing is just a disaster for you. Yeah.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal.
Although
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think I would. Go ahead.
if Derek plays missile envy, gets cultural, then that means Frank doesn't get to play China first. So I guess there is value to that.
Yeah, I might do that if I was Derek, just so that he can't play the 4-up. It also means if Frank, for some reason, does no, I guess we're under shuttle. It doesn't matter as much. I was gonna say if Frank doesn't fill or protect Pakistan, you could flip it with China, but that's a little less important with shuttle in effect.
Yeah, and it'd be fine to do that because he's got Nixon in hand. Yeah.
Yeah, I am a little surprised he gave shuttle. You could have held shuttle in space CRG, like Panama Canal. Who kind of cares here if you give that one? We're probably not eventing salt this turn, so you could have used it for ops. Although maybe Derek's going to jack the DEFCON up in case he draws some disaster DEFCON stuff right at the end of the turn.
It doesn't seem. I was just actually thinking in my head, is it crazy to salt for We Will Bury You? Yeah, on probably AR7 for basically the reason you said. And then if we don't get bad DEFCON cards, we can use We Will Bury You to help jack it back down and get 3 VPs.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. 3 VP is nice. And yeah, we save ourselves. Okay, good play by Frank.
Yeah, this is definitely right. And I like flipping there and taking some presents.
He could have invented this and taken him out of Syria that he just filled.
Oh, that's true.
But looks like Derek is willing to give Saudi Arabia, and he will settle for only 5 battlegrounds in the Middle East.
Yeah, South Africa is definitely more important, I think. I think this is the right call. Although it's realignable too, but
I mean, I don't know about you, but I've never hit that realign in my life. Oh. Well, apparently it was really important.
Yeah. Well, we talked about how does Frank stay alive? Getting rid of one of those 3 mid-war regions for nothing is a start.
Yeah, definitely. He definitely needs the Americas to never come again, but that's happened. Let's do some quick board math. Middle East is 6.
There's too
7?
much crap going on in the Middle East. I don't want to count.
Well, South America's 10. Central America is 6.
I think it's 5 with shuttle Middle East.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, -1, -2. Yeah, you're right. It's 5.
Okay.
So 5 in the Middle East, 6 in Central because he has both of the adjacent battlegrounds, which is a little weird. 10 in South. So we're at 21.
I think it's 5. I don't think it's ever 6 in Central.
Isn't it 5 if you have Cuba and Panama, which is kind of the standard Central Dom? So if you have Mexico, it becomes 6 because you have 2 adjacency points.
So I think it's, and let's see. Oh, West Germany now open. Oh, there's a role for Frank. Because if you have Dom is 3, then 2 battlegrounds, then 2 adjacency, that's 7. At -1, 2. So I think it's 5. And Derek's gonna fail his coup.
Yeah, so there goes Central.
How about you just click on it and show us, Derek? but I'm pretty confident it's 5.
Domination is 2. One extra country is domination's 2. 2 battlegrounds is 4. -1 is 3. Plus 2 adjacency is 5. Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. I just can't remember it ever being 6. So I assume we're getting Mexico realigned here. If we somehow survive that, a PCR coup of Guatemala seems fine. I might even, this is pretty conservative, but I might even take a PCR coup of Haiti if we get realigned out of Mexico.
Yeah, just that seems reasonable to me.
So do you have Frank with Nixon, Asnat, EEU, Brezhnev, and an unknown?
Yeah. I had originally had it as that last card being Olympic, but I feel like that was a mistake, and we're not sure if he actually has Olympic or not.
Yeah, that was played.
Yeah. So yeah, that's correct then.
Okay. Yeah, so Frank's going to want to, I assume Asnat's got to be one of his 2 helds. He has to do that, was going to be the next thing I was going to say, so that's good. Although, isn't realigning more urgent?
Yeah, I think I would have realigned before I did that. Because now,
Although, he wants to hold Asnat and EEU, right? His other unknown is Brezhnev, or his other known is Brezhnev. If the unknown card isn't good, he might not have anything to realign with. Because I think holding EEU is important.
yeah, holding EU is definitely important, but if you would have thought you would just see whatever that unknown card is there if, there's a problem, just get it done with.
Yeah, because what are the, I mean, I guess the only one, what did he space earlier?
We will bury you. Which
Oh,
is
yeah,
a must.
I did do that one. So I was gonna say there's like other like big problem would be OPEC or Quag. It's not Quag. You would self Quag over spacing We Will Bury You and holding Quag. Um,
Yeah.
so OPEC maybe, or it's something really good like that.
What's the target here? South America?
Yeah.
There
Oh,
you go. That's right. That's right. That's a classic.
yeah, and we didn't have anything unmodified, did we?
Um,
No, because Guatemala's. I would have.
yeah. You could have taken it on Mexico. You could have taken it unmodified on Mexico. Um, okay,
But
and
I
then this,
think taking the extra pip on Argentina is right, though.
yeah. We should retake West Germany here with Brezhnev, and then I don't know what the last op does. Pop one into Saudi.
Yeah, Saudi's fine. Uruguay gives you presence, but you still lose if that scoring comes out.
Derek did not event salt, but he did hold it, which achieves pretty much the same goal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
Colombia. Yeah. I guess this is fine. If you get ABM or something, you can hit Brazil, and this could. Oh, this is.
That's GG. Yeah. We've got a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 op OPEC or 5 VP OPEC and then South America. I would headline OPEC here.
Yeah, OPEC, and then just drop south.
Yep. After OPEC, there's nothing that Frank can even do in South here that makes South not just win because Derek's going to be at like 18.
Yeah, there's literally nothing to be done.
Correct.
Yeah. Defect this, South still loses.
Yeah, there's just no way to stop this with these 2 cards. Congrats to Derek. Tough one to Frank.
Yeah, tough one for Frank. I do think Derek played a very nice game.
Yeah.
So Derek Miller will start off the Midwest League 1-0. Frank Zhang will fall to 0-1. Any final thoughts on this one, JR?
No, normally I'm in Derek's chat and I'm a known Derek criticizer in chat, but I thought he played this one pretty well. I liked pretty much all of his decisions. he did get some good. Well, I don't even know if his cards were great so much as Frank's were terrible, but
Yeah.
he did well with what he had. He secured his stuff. Yeah, just good sound game.
All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, JR. For JR Jones, I'm Jeremy Andrews. Have a good night, everyone.